The pandemic taught us a valuable lesson. Health is wealth. But with the prices of goods burning a hole in consumers' pockets, sometimes protection goes to the back burner. And here to share with us the pressing role of insurance, especially in these complex and very volatile times, we have with us Kevin Strain. He is the president and global CEO of Sun Life. Welcome to Manila, Kevin.
Oh, thanks, Danie. It's great to be here and to reconnect with so many old friends while I'm here. Actually,
how's the Asian tour so far?
It's been great.
Yeah?
I mean, it's for me, it's always special to come to the Philippines. It's one of our oldest businesses we've had anywhere in the world. We started here a couple of years before the Philippines became a country, so 128 years here, and it's we're really part of the fabric of the country. I feel when I come here, a lot of people don't even realize we're a Canadian company, right? They think we're a Filipino company,
and
very I like
true.
that.
Yeah,
and I like that. I think it's in many ways it is kind of who we are.
How's your Filipino? Tagalog word.
I guess it's hapon now.
Magaling? Magandang umaga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, you've been having fun. We were talking about that off screen, but you just mentioned 128 years. That's a long time. I mean, in my notes, that's 1895. Tell us about this rich history. I mean, how did you even get from Canada to the Philippines ahead of World War II? Give us more color on that.
You know, it's really interesting. Actually, we started in Canada 158 years ago.
Oh, so not even that much longer.
No,
it's 30 years more. Yeah,
1 year before Canada became 2 years before Canada became a country. And
wow.
It's I really admire the people who started the company, because if you think back then, they immediately thought about being global. So we started in Montreal in Canada, Montreal, and they immediately thought about going global. Right. And we entered the United States, we entered Europe through the UK, and then Asia. And in Asia, we were sort of following the shipping lanes. So we were in Hong Kong, Singapore, Bombay at the time, and we entered Manila. And it's been quite a journey for us. We've been here consistently ever since. A small interruption, as you mentioned, during World War II, where actually the management team here had to hide all of the business policies and those types of things.
So there's the same type of insurance policies in the 1800s. You just put your money. Is it the same idea? Give us some
funny
education
you should mention
here.
Okay, so when the company started, the CEO used to take a train from Montreal to Vancouver, and then they would get on a boat and they would come over and visit, and the person who ran the company would take a stack of policies with them.
And they were called policies.
Policies, and they would take their applications over and get them signed and then bring them back. And yeah, we've come a long way since then. That's not how I come to Asia anymore.
Yeah, okay, clearly. So it's the same idea. I mean, give us an idea of how the Philippine market has changed. Clearly, it's not the same kind of things that you've been doing for 128 years.
Right.
And how you've been able to keep your presence here for such a long time.
You know, it's really interesting. Sun Life took a really significant turn for the better about 12 or 13 years ago.
Got it.
And we made a big commitment to our brand. We made a big commitment to the Philippines. We identified a goal, a strategy for the country, which was called Route 5 at the time, which was growing to 5,000 agents, and currently we're 21,000.
Okay,
right?
So that's
and it was to get to I'll get the number wrong.
This was 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Just 12 years ago. 5,000
just 12 years ago.
Okay.
And that commitment to a new strategy, commitment to brand, commitment to a new energy, putting the clients at the center, really changed the organization. And since then, we've been on a roll. We've been 12 years in a row, number one. The company that we replaced as number one had been number one in the Philippines for over 60 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
this is really one of the longest standing businesses possible in the country.
Yeah. And we are, in fact, we are actually the oldest insurance company in the Philippines, but it's been amazing to watch the growth in the business, but the growth in our people as well, and the amount of clients that we've been able to impact. And I say the growth in the people, we're a little bit unique. If you looked at Sun Life across Asia, our strongest business, almost our home base, really is our home base, is here.
Okay.
Most of the other big foreign insurance companies, foreign nationals, Hong Kong, sometimes China, Singapore is more their base. Ours is here. When I was, in 2012, we entered Vietnam. We needed staff to help us build that business out and get it started, we got them from the Philippines. 2013, we moved into Malaysia. We needed staff to help us. We got them from the Philippines. We share marketing ideas. So the Philippines has really become core to not just our strategy here, but to our strategy across Asia.
Strategy.
Yeah, and even global. We learn things.
What makes it so unique? Is it the English-speaking abilities that gives, a better, I don't know, it's a very relationship-based sort of business?
I think it's the
demographic,
Yeah.
interest in insurance, is it?
I think it's the people in our culture that over time, and honestly, I've spent a lot of time in the Philippines. I've probably been here at least 75 times. The management team here has made sure they take me out to all parts of the country. So I've been to different places to understand the culture.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of there's a good education system. As you said, people speak English. There's a good tech community here. There's really a core of strength that if you don't understand the culture, if you don't spend time understanding the people, sometimes you don't see it.
Exactly.
So we've spent enough time here to see that core strength, and then we use it to sort of leverage. I think
so it's not just any other, foreign company setting up shop. You've actually embedded so much, and the localization of the brand.
Yeah, it's been really part of who we are in Asia and part of that culture for us. I do also think there's an affinity between Canadians and Filipinos. In some ways, we're a little bit maybe more humble. I think a little bit more caring, happy, a little bit more happy, more fun in the Philippines. So I think there's that tie between the Philippines and Canada that makes it easy. I think, Canadians very open to immigration. Toronto's one of the most diverse cities in the entire world. In fact, I think it may be
huge Filipino population.
Huge Filipino population, and I think that diversity of our home office, that way of us being introduced to other cultures helps us when we try to expand. But the Philippines, the strength of the business here also speaks for itself. And when you have a strong business, you actually attract really good people.
Tell us more about the business here and how that's performed during the pandemic and how insurance has evolved, from something that I guess if you think about, our parents or grandparents, it's something very natural to them to understand. Now there are all these other options. Digitalization has brought in so many other options. You've got, the types of wallets that you can get insurance from already. So give us an idea of how the insurance industry has changed and specifically the market in the Philippines.
So the purpose for Sun Life is to help our clients achieve lifetime financial security and live healthier lives.
Okay.
And so if you think about lifetime financial security, nobody gets lifetime financial security in 1 year or in 2 years. It's over your life.
Right.
And your needs evolve over your lifetime. So in the Philippines, we have life insurance, we have health insurance, we have wealth products, mutual funds and savings products. You need a combination of those things. Increasingly, we've identified that, as you started your conversation today, living healthy is also important to your long-time financial security, your lifetime financial security. If you're not healthy, you can't work. So basic,
and we've
right?
realized that just recently.
Yeah. So COVID really brought that out. So this combination of life insurance, health insurance, wealth, delivered through advice, through advisors, through connections, maybe through a bank branch. We also work with our CBC branches here. If you can deliver that sort of set of products with a financial plan where you talk to somebody about building that over your lifetime, that's really what makes a difference. Yeah. And our advisors here are so special, and I love spending time with them because they deeply care about the client, and then we've empowered them with good planning tools, with good product, and that empathy they have for the client, that caring for the client, combined with our products and our services, it's like magic because it creates that deep relationship.
That's a very interesting point you've put out, because I mean, as much as insurance makes sense, clearly everybody just thinks of it as something that you need on a rainy day, right? How have you convinced Filipinos to put this front and center and just think long term? Like, no matter what happens in inflation, what happens in the economy, this is something that you need to keep on going.
Can I tell you a story? So
absolutely.
You've heard the story of the goose that lays the golden eggs, right? So if you think of the goose that lays the golden eggs, which do you want to protect? Do you want to protect the goose or do you want to protect the eggs? And of course, you should be protecting the goose, right? So if you think about protecting the goose, versus the eggs. The eggs are your car, and you insure your car. The eggs are your house, and you insure your house.
Okay.
But without the goose, there's no new cars.
Right.
There's no new house. So you need to protect the goose,
The
right?
goose,
Because when
right.
something happens to the goose, no new eggs.
Okay.
And so I think that's a good analogy, right? That first and foremost, you have to look after yourself, right? And you're looking after yourself, not just for you, but for your family.
Your children.
Yeah. But it is important, we recognize that there's a lot of stress on people. So it's really important to sort of say, lifetime financial security isn't going to come today. So we're not going to sit down and talk to you about buying life insurance and health insurance and wealth, and you're going to do it all today. It's not going to happen that way. It's going to happen over time with a plan. We've been working with teachers in the provinces to sort of teach them that same thing. And if you think about teachers here in the Philippines, sometimes it can be really hard financially for them, right? And nobody's taught them how to manage their financials. So we've given them a program where they can say, listen, you're using this much for your housing, this much for food, this much for entertainment, but keep this amount aside for savings. And rather than getting into debt and borrowing, start to make these savings aside, and then over time it builds up, and then you've built up a nest egg and a cushion.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's a little bit about sort of recognizing that we all have day-to-day pressures and being aware of just
that
putting
aspect.
enough aside. And it's one of the things that is, I always think about
Do
an
you see
advisor.
Filipinos starting to be more receptive to this idea of saving?
It's
And
we
putting
do.
money
Actually, in fact,
how
we do.
are our saving
Well, I can tell you when
culture actually?
in 2012, I talked about our journey. In 2012, we had about 1 million clients, and today we have closer to 5 million.
Okay.
And so I think you can see that interest
exponential,
level is growing and it's more exponential. And
Okay.
that's sort of it's a little bit of awareness. It's meeting them where they want to be met. It's creating digital tools so that they can interact with us. So there's a number of elements that go into getting Filipinos interested in driving that through.
Okay. Now you talked about other products that you have, right?
Right.
So you're not your Sun Life Financial. Actually, it's not just health insurance. It's not just life insurance. You actually have mutual funds. You have investment funds. Well, how is that traction in the Philippines? Are people interested in these types of funds? Is that a growing part of your business?
We're the second largest asset management company in the Philippines, and so we are seeing more and more.
Beating even the local banks.
Even beating the local banks, and we're actually globally. We're a top 15 insurance company globally, but we're a top 25 asset management company as well. In fact, we're Canada's largest asset management. So we bring a lot of asset management skills to here to the team. And I know you've interviewed Mike Enriquez before. He does a great job for the clients. And so there is a lot of interest in this. And one of the things that we can bring is that we can offer great Philippines funds, but we can also offer global funds. And we think that that's an important piece of person's financial plan is they get that diversity as well. So that bringing global understanding, global capabilities is
again,
really helpful.
What makes us putting our money as an asset management fund, as a mutual fund in Sun Life Financial, like better or more interesting than just putting it in your own local bank? Is there some difference here? Is it just a matter of branding?
Well, I think it's a couple things. First, when we're doing our job the best we can, we're linking it to a full financial plan. So we're not just talking about your mutual fund, we're talking about your whole financial life. Yeah. And I think that that's an important context because maybe you should be buying life insurance first and then building up your mutual funds, or maybe you should be buying health insurance and then building up your mutual funds.
Should you though? Let's go to that first.
And there's no one rule for any person. So one of the important things that our advisor does is they get to know you. They understand you as a person. They understand your needs. They understand your desires. They understand what's happened to your family
are in your
and where you
life,
are. Right. So I think there's no one answer for anybody. It might be mutual funds first, but maybe it's not.
Interesting.
And so I think having that full financial plan is what really differentiates us from others. And then bringing this global set of capabilities, also a differentiator.
What are you doing in terms of digitalization, like specifically? Are you making, instead of having these agents and financial planning done face-to-face, is it going to be, artificial intelligence telling us how we need to plan our financial life? Or how's that going?
Every company in the world is going to be a digital company.
Okay.
That's just, if you think about what happened during COVID, we all had to shift to digital. And so every company in the world is going to be a digital company. It's just a matter of does their management team accept it or not? So we've accepted it, and we've sort of defined it as thinking and acting like a digital company.
Okay.
And to think and act like a digital company, the first thing is our tech stack has to be a modern tech stack, including our technology we provide to advisors and to clients, right? So we need a modern tech stack, cloud-based, API-based, but that tech stack is really important. The second thing that's really important is agile ways of working. And we're transitioning to be more agile, where IT isn't just another part of the organization that we say, hey, build this for us and come back. We want IT close to the business, understanding the business understanding IT, and then creating smaller deliverables that are closer to the client.
Okay.
And that's the third element, is that trying to listen and react more quickly to clients' needs. And that's part of being a digital company, understanding the clients digitally. Our clients expect us to know them from their digital footprint with us. And so that shift is very real, and I think is an important piece of what we're doing. It doesn't mean that people aren't important, because what we want to do is give the client the choice. Would you like to have an advisor to talk to? Do you want to work digitally with us? Do you want to work call center? But we really think that connection to an advisor and that person, particularly in places like the Philippines, is so important.
There's still going to be an advisor, basically.
Yeah.
How are you upskilling your people for this shift? And how quick is that coming, actually?
Well,
it's happening now.
It's happening now, and we're training on digital ways of working, agile ways of working right around the world. It's really interesting. I would say the newer people we're hiring, they almost demand to work that way, right?
Wow.
And what we're finding, though, is we started with smaller teams, and then we've increased the size of those teams and increased the size of those teams. People really like working like that, because you're closer to the client, things happen more quickly, you see results more quickly, minimum viable product, that kind of stuff. And that change has been, there's almost an inertia to it. That's when people see it, especially new people, they love working that way. So it's almost got its own sort of pattern.
Let's talk about that. Gen Z, both customers and Gen Z talent people. Well, what's the future going to be looking like for Sun Life? You're the CEO, clearly, and you're running this new generation. How's it going to be?
I do think Gen Zs want to work differently. And so we've committed to a hybrid way of working. I do think being in the office is great, because you get that energy. But having the flexibility sometimes to work from home, to do things that make you more efficient. So that change in way of working, I think that's something that's
there to stay.
It's kind of permanently come out of COVID. Now, I do think that in many parts of Sun Life, they're coming in 1 day a week. I think it'll end up being 2 days a week or 3 days a week. But you'll still have that flexibility, and you'll be able to take advantage of what means the most to you. And then you're going to have these different, I think Gen Zs want things to happen quicker, right? So that change in how we work and the ways we work and digital tools and being modern. But a lot of people want to work at a place that cares about them,
that they're happy
at, that they like the people, that there's a good culture. We both know, right? Like the companies where you're going to be most successful is a company that fits your culture. And so I think that optimism, that bringing energy, is something we're focused on.
What about the consumers? Are they demanding different things now in terms of insurance?
Completely in terms of tools,
I'm
digital
so curious.
tools.
I'm still so traditional, right? Well, what are they demanding?
We're seeing definitely more. People want us to understand them. They want to see their claims paid fast, and we're actually very quick in paying claims. They want to see that there's a plan that's geared to them. They want it to be personalized, right? So they want that personalized approach. And I think they want to have product that does have a bit, I would add that bit of sort of a global aspect to it, maybe some global investments. And then clearly health is more important than it's ever been. And thinking about wellness programs and helping people with their wellness and understanding their health and finding ways. In Canada is a great example. We've been traditionally a payer of benefits. So you had health insurance with us. If you needed to go to a dentist, we paid for that. Increasingly, we're helping Canadians find the right dentist. And so we have a rating system on our website where you can rate your dentist, your physiotherapist. And so we're helping care navigation. We're helping with wellness programs, and we're doing wellness programs also here in the Philippines. But in Canada, we just purchased a company called Dialogue, which is Canada's #1 virtual care company. So we're actually giving care.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So you're actually
We're actually
going
giving care.
inside
Yeah.
the healthcare space now.
Yeah, inside the healthcare space.
And in the Philippines, is there something you're interested in as well?
Well, we've just been working in the provinces and to create 42 wellness centers in each of the provinces. This is part of our philanthropy, physical wellness centers. Yeah.
So what's in there? I'm really curious.
It's
Which
almost
provinces?
a referral sort of system where you can go in and get a referral to the local hospital. There'll be a nurse that's there, can do some assessment, maybe help you with
not
little
primary
things.
care.
It's not primary
wellness
care.
Center.
It's a wellness center. So that's evolving. And
what's in wellness center? Is that yoga? Is that?
They're barangay health stations. So they're in the provinces. They're there to sort of, if you're feeling ill and you don't know what it is, you don't want to make the long trip to the hospital, you can kind of come in, get an assessment, maybe some simple treatments. Amazing. And if the nurse there thinks you need to go to the hospital, they refer you to the hospital.
Well, you have other advocacies that you have. I don't know if this is particular to the Philippines or maybe globally. You have diabetes and health screening clinics. Is that the same thing, or disease prevention programs?
Diabetes is one of our number one things that we sponsor, sort of different research and different testing. And it's been an important element because when we look globally around Sun Life, it's an issue everywhere. It's an issue in North America. It's an issue in Europe, but it's a major issue in Asia. Yeah. And it's funny because I think that a lot of people don't realize how prevalent diabetes is, and it's not just people who you might look at and say, "Oh, I think
or inherited it."
Right. It's quite prevalent in Asia, and so this commitment back to diabetes and looking for ways for people to help them manage it. And in fact, when we can help somebody manage their diabetes, their risk in terms of their life insurance comes way down.
That's true.
And so there's great alignment for us with the client.
Okay, it's actually interesting that you mentioned that. They mentioned that during COVID, people found out they had diabetes because they suddenly are like, why am I feeling this way? They hadn't actually known it prior to that. You also have some sustainable investments, right, in your financial asset management arm. Give us more color on that.
Yeah, so we run a global sustainability program, and we've made sustainability almost part of our culture, right? And thinking about sustainability.
Sorry, has that been there ever since, like as part of your, brand, or is that a new thing?
When I became CEO, we reset the strategy, and part of that strategy was a commitment to sustainability, and part of that sustainability was this commitment to making it sort of overall part of our strategy. So we added a chief sustainability officer. First time we've ever had one. We've added a climate team underneath them. But our sustainability strategy has 4 elements. The first is financial security. And so that concept of financial security is one of the United Nations sustainability components. And we've really been able to deliver that in places like the Philippines. Like my example of the 70,000 teachers who were helping with financial literacy and preparing for their financial futures. We've identified health, and I've talked a little bit about health as part of our program. But the third element is kind of the one that everybody thinks about, which is climate.
True.
And so we are one of the larger investors in renewable energy and creating renewable energy. It can be wind sites, it can be solar, sometimes it's electronic vehicle batteries and those types of things. But we have a major commitment to sustainable energy, climate change, and investing in renewable energy. That's something we're actually looking to bring globally, and we've got a skill set. We bought a company.
Do you actually have funds that are specific
we have fun.
to
we
that?
have we have
Are they available in the Philippines? Can I invest in a fund that's just doing that?
We can talk afterwards. We can see if we get to invest in one of the funds. But we have we purchased a company called Infrared, which is an infrastructure asset management business. Has about 15 billion USD in investments.
AUM,
It had started in Europe, and we've helped them go to North America. So they created their first ever US dollar renewable energy fund, building energy in North America. And now we're starting to bring it to Asia. So
interesting.
Keep your eye on the Philippines.
Acquisitions are on here for energy.
Keep your eye on the Philippines because the Canadian government has put aside $5.5 billion to help developing countries build renewable energy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your leadership style. Maybe, I don't know if you're comfortable talking about yourself, but nevertheless, the Sun Life culture, and when I look at your materials, it says it's a culture designed to win. What does that mean to you? And you know, you've been here since a long time, but
Right.
basically as CEO, head of the ship in 2021 at a time where there was so much going on in the world.
Yeah.
And now that maybe the dust has settled a little bit and things are going back to normal, what are your objectives and aspirations for this global company?
So first on leadership style, I'll never forget the conversation I had with Dean Connor. And Dean was our CEO when I took over for Asia. And Dean came to me and sitting quite at a table like this, and he said, Kevin, I would like you to run Asia. And I said, Dean, I've only been to Asia twice, right? I've been to
Fun.
So yeah,
like,
2
let's
days.
do it.
Yeah, right. And so I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, I'm sure. And I said, well, what do you think Asia really needs? And he said, well, honestly, it feels like in Asia, Sun Life is playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
To win, interesting.
And we needed to play to win. And he said the second thing is, we weren't as big as some of our competitors at that time. He said, I keep being told that we can't attract the best people because our brand's not as well known. He goes, your whole job is to attract the best people. And so for 5 years, all I did running Asia was play to win and try to find the best people.
Excellent, yeah.
And we went from 100 million in income to almost 400 million in 5 years.
Wow,
and we went from about $50 million in the value of our sales to 250 million, 5x. And it was all just about shifting the culture and trying to find the best people. Now, to be fair to the Philippines, we were already playing to win. We had the Route 5, and we had the best people here. And it was the rest of Asia that needed to pick that up. Yeah. Yeah.
So your strategy as a leader is luring people rather than with awesome company culture.
Yeah, you know, I think that for me, it's become a little bit of making sure the company lives its purpose. Every day, trying to drive through measurement of us achieving our purpose and understanding of our purpose and aligning our strategy to our purpose. The second is culture and making sure we have a culture that is more than just playing to win. It's a caring culture, a humble culture, bring your authentic self. Increasingly a digital culture that think and act like a digital company, but it's, for me, it's really been a combination of live our purpose, set a good culture, have the best people, and find ways as the CEO, your job is to always integrate those things. So I keep saying, my job isn't to be the best finance person or the best marketing person or the best distribution person. My job is to bring all those people together and try to find those interaction points.
And then that's all going to follow.
And then it all works. It actually all works if you just do those things and let people be the best that they can be. I have used a story. We both have kids, and I had coached my daughter's soccer for many, many, many years. And one year, the team had really grown during the year, and it's an 11-year-old girl, so they had really grown during the year. And I've always played everybody exactly the same amount of time. That's been my philosophy, coaching. Everybody should have a chance, right?
Yeah,
right. So
same playing time.
So at the end of the year tournament, and we had never won this in all the years I coached. At the end of the year tournament, I thought, I think these girls have a chance, right? So I said to them, so I gathered them and I said, girls, who here thinks we can win this tournament? Put up your hand. And not one of them put up their hand. So I said, I said, okay, listen, here's what I've seen. Like, this is what I've seen you guys do. And I talked a little bit about each of them. This is what I've seen you've been able to accomplish. I said, come on, do you really think we can win this tournament? Yeah. And they all put up their hand, and we actually won the tournament. And I thought, you know, teams don't win, companies don't win that don't believe they can win. And to believe you can win, you need great talent, you need a good strategy, and you need a good culture. And if you unleash that, and if you create that belief, it's amazing what happens.
Well, that's a great way to end this conversation with that story of your daughter's football team, and of course, hoping to bring that culture as well to Sun Life, specifically here in the Philippines. Thank you so much for your time, Kevin String.